Hi everyone, this is Emmy from The Bridge Coaching, and we're here with video number 4 on the core human needs. And this one is about love and connection. Love and connection is need number 4. In the last video, we talked about the need for significance, which is the feeling to matter and to be seen and to be acknowledged by other people, to get credit from other people. The core need for love and connection is usually, you tend to either be driven by significance slightly more, which is the case for me, or you can be driven more by love and connection. And what I want to say to all of you out there who may feel like I should be driven by love and connection, you know what? If you are or you are not, your primary decisions in life will be driven usually by one or the other, which doesn't mean, in my case, that love and connection isn't important. It's just not the thing that drives every decision that I make. So what does this actually mean, love and connection? Well, every single human being have a need to be loved, and it's actually a primal universal fear across the world for many people is simply the fear of not being loved. So the thing I will say about this core need is that, again, much like significance and the other ones, it can be met in an unresourceful or a resourceful way. So the primary thing is we all need to be loved and feel safe and feel looked after. But the interesting thing about it is that how we go about getting this need met. So the unresourceful way to get connection, and I see it all the time, love is obviously slightly deeper than connection. Connection is a little bit safer for some people. So connection can be like shallow friends or being part of a group or something like that. Whereas love, true love, not just intimate love with your partner, but also true love to self and to other people, to your friends, to your family, can be a very revealing and very vulnerable experience. And a really interesting book, if you like the thought of vulnerability and deeper levels of love, you might want to look into the wonderful work of Brené Brown and her magnificent book, Daring Greatly. And she's also done a TED Talk on vulnerability. It's about 15 minutes long, and I can highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's really, really good. But the core need for love and connection is very primal in some people, and it means that someone who's driven by love and connection will always go to the group, want to create things with the group. They will go and get work, they'll do social activities, they'll have friendships, which always foster more connection. Whereas someone driven by significance doesn't always have that same need to be in a group or accomplishing in a group. Someone who has a need for significance might be a lot more comfortable on the stage in front of the people, whereas someone driven by connection is more comfortable performing as a group or contributing as a group or applauding the person who is up on the metaphorical stage. Obviously, there are variations for this. This is not always exactly like that, but that's sort of a little bit how it works. And the interesting thing about transitions, while we're talking about that, because you can imagine that love and connection is something when you're transitioning in a career or you're relocating to a new country or you're making a big change in your life, all of a sudden your need for love and connection gets challenged. Because some of that love and connection that you've always relied on might change, or you might feel a fear that there's going to be judgment from other people for your decision to move far away or do something really different that they don't understand, or start your own business or something like that. So this is a really, really important thing to remember. So the unresourceful way of doing this need of loving connection is to connect over problems rather than connecting over, real true causes, right? So you'll hear a lot of people who are driven by love and connection. They'll sit there and gossip or do things like that. And, you'd hear it in the office sometimes. The gossip people, it can be connected to significance, which we talked about before. But more often than not, it's that whole connecting over problems, finding any little way to connect with people, sharing drama, like that sort of stuff. So, the resourceful way, as you can imagine, of doing love and connection is to living a life where you're truly connected to yourself, to your inner core. And that's not just being fluffy, it's about knowing who you are. Dr. John Demartini talks about this a lot in his work around values. But I think it's actually a core human need. If you know yourself and love yourself enough, it doesn't really matter how, you will organically connect with the right type of people in your life. You will gravitate towards workplaces and countries and types of traveling that will generate connection with the right type of people. And you'll also, if you feel true to yourself and you feel true to your core and you love yourself for the choices that you made and stand for them, similar to significance where you walk your talk, if you're able to love yourself and love that part of yourself, then other people will be able to love you as well. And for many of us, this takes a lifetime to realize. And that's why I've spent a lot of time studying this specifically. If you haven't already hopped on the website to check out at thebridgecoaching.com.au, we have a resource section where you can actually download an exercise specifically around how to unpack the 6 core needs and which 1 or 2 or 3 are your key drivers. But let me remind you again, whether you're driven by love and connection or not, it doesn't mean that is not important. What we're looking for in this series is for you to work out your drivers. So do you tend to be the person who base your decisions on where you can get the most connection and fun and group and connection with a person or a group? Or are you rather more about the accomplishment, the acknowledgement, and being really acknowledged for your work rather than being part of something greater? That will probably give you an indication of which your driver is, if it's significance or love and connection. In the next 2 videos, we're going to unpack two of the final ones, which is about growth and contribution. And I'd really encourage you, if you haven't already, go back and watch the previous videos, the intro video and the first 3 core needs, because it'll start to give you some context around how this works and which driver you have, and maybe also which drivers your loved ones might have. So that's all for now. I look forward to see you in video number 5.